Okay, so it's Drush Ches, page Lamed Ches. So reading across the top, at the top, it says, is the Vuhu Drush Sheni Be'inyan Sfiras Omer. So it says second Drush. Even though that we disclaimed the first Drush, but it had some interesting ideas in it, we'll go here. His boyer should call him Mochin Shekibel Zer Anpen Belel Pesach Hoya the Fisha, that was momentary. Gam Yisboyer Atam Lama Oimrim Halal Hashalem Rak Biyom Rishon. Why we only say that on the first day? I have to crop this book up. It's just a second. Okay, so he says. So we'll get started over with number Aleph in the Tivuk Avonos, and it says Mahalach Hamavur Bedrash Zeh. Well, Mahalach Ha'ikri Be'inyan Sfiras Omer. This is really the main drush. So they actually, this is the drush that we use in the Sidurim. I guess he means in the Rishash or the Sephardi, I'm not sure. Begalos Mitzrayim, he said, B'choya the Kitzonim, Mekiza v'Yanika Chazaka b'Zer Anpin, v'Kadei shelo yuchlo Chitzonim the Yana b'Menu Kolkach, Hazazer Anpin the Hiyos b'Bechinas Ivur b'Mei Ima. The ve'ima ein lechiza chitzayim achizas chitzayim. Uvehi yosech bebechinas ivor yesh bo rak kumas 9. So therefore he has only the height of netzachod yisod. Shehem nechlalim hachagad bebechinas tlas klilim betlat. But folded up inside of them is chagad. So there's actually 6 there, but the height of it is not stretched out. Now comes along the Gelula B'Leil Pesach, B'chein Hu B'Kol Shana V'Shana B'Leil Chazeh, Hotzei HaMa'atzel HaElyon, the Matzel HaElyon brings out as Zer Anpin B'Sod Leda M'mei Imo that comes out, he's born out. So he says, what? Every time of this year, let me just see. So he says, B'chein Hu B'Kol Shana V'Shana B'Leil Zeh, Hotzi Hama'atzel HaElyon as Zer Anpin B'Sod Leila B'Mei Ima. So actually on that night, the metaphor is that Zer Anpin is born. Now we have a lot of that going on over in the Sefer Tzniut to talking about that, but here we are. B'Havihigdil Zer Anpin Al Yedei Shenimshkalo Mochin Gedolim, because he's able to bring in great Mochin Ma'od. Mochin the Yasos and Mochin the Abba V'Ima and all of that. So, okay, so he gave us a little bit of, he flushed that out a little bit. Now these motion nisharim bo kol leil rishon, v'chein b'yom rishon shel Pesach, so it's like shining at that time. But at the end, when it's gone, the after the first day, they mistalking the Gamri B'mena, they completely and totally leave him. V'nish b'zer anpin b'bechinas iver kavad chiluch, he remains like that. V'la'achar mekan, and then after this, so now coming along after that, chozim amochin hikones bo ma'at, they start coming back in little by little. Min yom hasheni shel Pesach ad atishlum chamishi yom, so until it completes chamishim yom, yemei sfiras ha'omer, shehu chag ha'shvuos, until you get to that whole count there. We've been around the count a little bit. Let's see what we're going to say. V'drash zecha yivuir seder chazaras amochin b'mei sfira. That's what we're going to start doing. We'll look at number bet. Hinen is boyer la'el ki gadlus hazer dezer anpin hoya defisha b'lal rishon shel pesach kadei sheyuchlol yisocha li goyel, because without it can't do it. Nis boyer la'el, so he says it's explained up above. The Chagadla Shehoya the Zer Anpin B'Leil Rishon the Pesach Ayidei Shenimshkal Mochim, because now the Mochim are coming down into him. Hoyu Rak the Fisha was momentary. Kedei Shal Al Yedei Godel Ha'ara, so that through the greatness or the power of this Ha'ara, Tizvat Lachizas a Klipos, it'll knock out the Klipos. Now let me see, I'm screwing this up. It'll knock out the Klipos. 1 second. that we are actually a root inside of us is the root of Zer Anpin. Ligoil, we could get out. Then Yom Rishon Shal Pesach Mistalkim Kol Mochen in Niskarim, and then they all leave. And he says V'chazer l'makomo l'kadmuso, and it goes back into its original condition. Now, the question is the bechinas tlas klilin betlas, which is a complete fold. Takef acher hayom rishon shel Pesach. So he says here, and there's he says this is contradicting. We'll see down in the Sharkavanos. He says, Achar Yom Rishon Shal Pesach Mistalkim Mizal Kol Hamokin Dekatav V'Gadlus Rishon. So all of them leave Zer Anpin. V'Katav V'Gadlus Sheni, all gone. V'Chosu Dekad Musach the Bechinas Ivor. So it goes back into Ivor state. Kamo Shahoyo Koden L'Chein. L'Chios Bebechinas Tlas Klina Betlas. Kamo Shahoyo Be'ez Galus Mitzrayim. Like that's really what it was like during that period of time. But he says that after the Geula takes place. So let's look down below in the Shefa. Let me see if I can get it up here right. So there it is. He says, the Shefa says on number Aleph, he says, V'chazro, and he goes back, L'kad Muso, to his original state, the Bechinas Tlas Klula Betlas. He says, Hine the Ale, he says, a Mavur. The Bechinas Tlas Klula Betlas, Hu Bechinas Ivor, okay, no problem. V'nimsa Sha'achar Yom Rishon the Pesach, Chose Zer Anpin liyos bebechinas ivor. The caution, it's a problem. The Hare Issa the El, but we know in the Reish Drush Zion, he said the B'mera b'Pesach, who's the man Yanika, not gestation. Mashba shechoisech the bechinas Yanika, so it goes back to that stage. Shehu la'achar haleda, which takes place after Zer Anpin is born out, and that's the Jewish people coming out of Mitzrayim. Because Zer Anpin hu kavar bechinas vak, he always has 6 kitzvos, and here he is. But Tzarech Ian, so he leaves it at Tzarech Ian. Then he said, "V'da the masha omer b'ragav." As you know, you could probably put a jillion answers onto that. You could say, "Well, it's just momentary, goes right back," or something like that. I make that up. But I don't know why. He said, "V'tzarech you have to discuss it." V'da the masha omer Rav Khan, shechozer hazer adpin lakad muso. We're going to go back to his original state. The bechinas tlas klila betlas the hindel l'kamosha hoya bisman galas mitzrayim. This same way, which repeating himself a little bit. Gavar bir ha'mefarshim, but it's been already been explained. The mefarshim explained like this. That's he looks at the Shem and Sason and others. The Eina Kavanda B'Kapeshutos, that what it's saying over here is not the simple meaning. Sheniknas Mamish Chazara B'Mei Ima, the Bechinas Ivor, that it actually Mamish does do that. Raka Kavanda Shemistalki B'Bendach and B'Mochin, but what we're trying to say is that the Mochin leave. The Mochin, the godless, leave. And as a result of that, it kind of collapses a bit. V'lo Nish'arach B'Horak makes us a Mochin, and only a little bit of the Mochin are left, which is, I guess, the Vak. Ivor, like he had, similar to like it was in the Ivor side, at the Ivor time. So, okay, I'm not sure exactly. I can see the why it goes back to Ivor, because we're talking about Yanika, we're supposed to talk about that. Okay, anyway. So he says like this, that's what happens. And that's what's going on in Sefirah, is they're coming back again. So now he's talking about it. He was to say like this: why do Mochin leave anyway? So they're leaving, but they're going to have to come back. So why leave? So he says, explain like this. It has to have the pulley from down below working. You have to breathe ma'alaman. We have to do things in order to keep it in perpetuity. So he says, so explain them above. The Beleil Pesach, so at the beginning, you don't have, there's nothing to do. It happens by itself. Shechein ein bekochenu lahamshik b'bas achas as called hamochin ad gadlus sheni, that we actually bring in gadlus sheni over here, so that we can't do. Rak hamshakosam na'asech b'derek nes v'rach mechama'atzel, it really happens that way. Became in shechein, so since that's the case, because if without the effort from down below, nothing's going to happen up above. Continue with and how did it came about as after the will of the Ma'atzel, Shalo al Yadenu, it did not have anything to do with us. We're the recipients of a Matnas Chinam. Ein bekochel l'shayr ella rak ma'at zaman, but we can only stay in that condition where we're getting matnas chedem, or something for nothing, because for a certain amount of time. Valkain, so therefore, sarak lachzor v'lahamshichem bebechet sefira, you got to start bringing them back. Al yedecha b'maisa sefira, through the sefira itself. Shahata na'asis amshacha al yedenu. And therefore that's the process by which it makes it possible. So I'm learning with this young man on the Otzos Chaim. He's a smart kid, and I'm seeing over here that the action down below draws Chasadim and Gevuros from way back before into what could, when the Malachim die, there's nothing to draw down anymore, and so Abba Mimba go back to back. It's a whole thing I'm trying to understand over there. So over here, it's saying the same thing, basically. Without us doing something, nothing happens. Now, let's see where we're at now. Now we're on number, I guess we're on number Dalet. I guess I skipped over to number Dalet. So this is the reason why we don't say the complete Chalul Gomor, but we only say it, Ela b'yom rishon shall pass a belvad. We only say it on the first day. וזה יבוך בטעם החילוק שיש בין חג הפסח בעניין דמירס החלל. He says, שביום הראשון אומרים חלל שלם. The first day we say complete halal. ובשך ביום מדלגים. So therefore we start skipping, or start eliminating. והוא במחבש הכלל, because the general rule is like this, halal shalom אומרים רק באיז גדלס המוחל לזר אנפת. וכן ביום טוב ראשון של פסח, שיש לזם מוכן דגדלס, אומרים הלל שלום, so there we say the complete and total halal. אבל בשאר הימים, בכל, so but the rest of the days, and we're talking about the weekdays, בכל המועד, יסך בשביעי של פסח, etc., שכבר נסתלקים במוכן בזר אנפין לאחר היום הראשון, אין אומרים הלל שלום רק בדילוג, you can only say this בדילוג. Okay, so now we'll go to the next little piece here. He said, "Yizboyer shemelel sheni ad shavuos." Let me bring this down here. A second. So he says like this: "Yizboyer shemelel sheni ad shavuos anamam shichen esamochen shenistalku." Okay, that's the topic here. So let's read. This is going to be number Hey. He said, "V'acher kach melel sheni ve'eloch anu chozim lahamshech hamochem and iskarim." We go back. We're going to continue to pull down the mochem that we mentioned. Sheniknasu b'leil pesach. They come in the leil pesach v'nistalku, and then they left. V'ata chozim the konis k'fi sedach hamedregos, and it starts coming back according to an order of different levels. Called Madrega B'Yom Shalah. Each level has its own day. Ayedecha b'mitzvah Sfiras Omer b'chamishim Yom Shebein Pesach L'Atzeres. So he says like this. Okay. La'achar shenistalku kol hamochim anu chozem lahamshik sheni as the sheni sits a mochim shenistalku. Melel sheni shal Pesach ve'elach. That's where it's going on. B'meshach hamishim yemei shmechel sefira shebein Pesach l'shavuos v'chozim the kones called bechinos hamochim shehoyu bo b'leil rishon. So all of those come back in shall they refer to Pesach. So therefore they can't come in just at one time. There's no, I guess there's no kli that's able to handle all at one time. Not anymore. Each one of the B'layla Echad, each one of them has its own night. Ella Ata, but now, they're coming little by little. Shebakol Laila Ayedechas Sefiras Omer, Nimshechas Madrega Achas O Shnayim Shalamochim. So you see everything is coming. Sometimes there's usually one, but maybe sometimes two, as we may see later on. So let's come over here. I'm really about done with what I could do today. I wasn't expecting we had this much time, but next time I'll be better prepared. Let's go over to number bet on page Lamed Tes. Right, so we'll get down to the bottom here and see what's on the mind of the Tiv. So the Tiv says, "V'acher kach melel sheni ve'eloch anu chozrim lahamshech hamochem and niskarim." All those mochem that we lost are a serach sheniknusuch belel Pesach. Belel Pesach. V'nistalku v'ata chozrim l'kanes k'fi seder ha'bedregos kol medrega b'yom shalal. So Zel Lashon the Rishash, this is what the Rishash says. He says, Hare ki sibas hemshech zaman haknasas hamochem b'mem tes yamin. The reason why you have this, below b'yom echad, and not in just one day, k'shar yimos hashana, like all the rest of the days of the year. Because there's a tremendous achiza there. In order to be able, in other words, we're surrounded at this time by Kitzonim, a very difficult time. In order to be able to nullify that achiza, the gamri, chutzrak mem tes yamim. So back to this again. So what we see that it was nullified during Pesach. Lo choya ela devisha. V'choya rabba bicham b'neis v'choya bid legamri. V'cha'achar iver yom rishon chazek l'tavo. The thing goes back to its normal nature. Levatla chisasim, in order to be able to nullify their hold al yedei hamshachas emochim b'shar yemos hashana v'lo al yedei neis. But even this we're doing because we're making the shtadlus here, even though it's happening little by little. He says, Ki adayim we don't have the ability to be able to knock out that achiza at one time. So we take a specific, this is what we're doing when we're counting the Omer. We're taking a specific midah. So we're in the Hod of Gevura over here, or Gevura Hod. I don't know which way we count it. But at any rate, he says that we're in this particular thing. We're using that. He says, the bata l'chitzazim b'chol yom midah achas. Because each one of the 49 days is a midah. So the hod of Gevura, what is that midah like? Two elements on the left line. Even so, it's still not in the right order. The kind of katnas v'gadlus that is normally. You start from katnas and you grow into gadlus. Because let's suppose you did that here, they would grab a hold of that and you wouldn't have anything there. So therefore it doesn't start in that order. That's giving us a reason why we bring in godless first. There's another thing he says. He said every moach does not go over the whole kav shalo rak ba'osa hamida levad, only to that particular midah by itself. Vova ki yesh eish v'zeman katsuv l'kol mida kama tesha b'li mochim. How long it? I'm not sure what this means exactly. How long it can wait without mochim. Eric Achisa. So he's was. Let me just read this again. Ki yesh eish v'zeman katsuv. There's a specific amount of time. The call mida. So he's saying what? I'm not sure what he means here. Is the call mida? Kama tesha believe mochin. So in other words, the midas have no mochin. These particular have no mochin. But when you say the sefirah, it brings mochin into that mida, but not into any other mida, just into that mida. So what's that mashman? It's mashman that if you have the left line, there's a hod, except for say a hod and gevura, which are two on the left line. What are you bringing into them? You're actually able to grow them individually into a certain level of godless. I don't know how that works. It could be Eric Achiza, according to the arrangement of the way they hold on. Kach Eric Betula, so therefore they're all arranged in a certain way. He said Kufi Eric Ha'achiza Sheyeshba, the hold that the klipa have on that. Kach Eric Betula, so that is the amount of time. I'm not sure what he means, but that's the arrangement of how it has to be a mevato. So each one of them has a specific day, a specific time, that it can be mevato, and that's really what we're doing here. Anyway, that's what I got to do today. That's it for today. See you tomorrow. Yeshua Deal.